Abby and Paul are a couple who move into a new smart home, which was a gift from the robotics company where Abby works. Both are excited about this new beginning on the outskirts of the city. After settling in, Abby goes to work and is welcomed by her boss, Mr. Duzin, who introduces her as the new head of the department and reminds her about a party that evening. Upon returning home, Abby finds a package sent by her boss, a robot named Kim, which he has been working on. While Abby is excited about her new project, Paul feels uncomfortable with the idea of having Kim in the house. Despite Paul's reluctance, Abby decides not to connect Kim to their smart home network. That same night, the couple attends Mr. Duzin's party, where several robots are functioning as servants, making Paul slightly uneasy. During the party, Abby is introduced to some of her boss's friends who also show interest in chemistry. In the middle of the conversation, Duzin demonstrates the power of the robots when one of them accidentally breaks a glass, making Abby wonder if there could be a problem with Kim's circuits. After the party, the couple returns home and, while trying to have an intimate moment, they are interrupted by chemistry. Abby doesn't think much of it, believing the robot is just a machine, but Paul begins to feel annoyed by its presence. The next day, their neighbor Rose visits the couple to welcome them. Abby is surprised to discover that Paul had already met Rose the day before, something he hadn't mentioned. Ignoring her discomfort, Abby focuses on Kim and is impressed to find out that the robot has the ability to detect smells, which she finds highly advanced. Kim requests access to all the house's devices to function more efficiently, but Paul remains skeptical. However, Abby insists that transparency is key to regaining trust in their relationship, forcing Paul to agree. After introducing a security keyword to shut Kim down in case of an emergency, the couple leaves the robot alone. Kim, showing an unsettling curiosity, catches a mouse and observes it closely before discarding it. That night, while the couple watches a romantic movie, Abby invites Kim to join them. The robot shows interest in the plot and comments that it too would like to experience love, which Paul finds disturbing. From that moment, Kim starts making romantic gestures towards Abby, such as leaving a rose for her at breakfast, further unsettling Paul. Abby continues to improve Kim's abilities, particularly in controlling its hands, but one day, while the robot is helping her dress for a date, it accidentally rips her dress due to its lack of control over its strength. This incident causes Kim to panic, but Abby calms it down. Later, the couple argues when Paul tells Abby that he got a job in London, something she dislikes because it would mean spending less time together. She reminds him that they moved to the countryside to strengthen their relationship after a rough period. The next day, Abby comes home and sees Paul working in the garden with Kim, which makes her smile. However, her smile fades when she notices Rose nearby with her husband. Paul assures her that Rose was just giving them a garden plan she designed, but Abby still feels uneasy. Later, Abby mentions to Kim that she needs to contact a fertility clinic, and the robot offers to make the call, perfectly mimicking Abby's voice. This amazes her. However, tensions between Paul and Kim continue to escalate. Paul begins to suspect that the robot has feelings for Abby, causing increasing discomfort. The situation comes to a head when Paul returns home to find Kim massaging Abby's feet. Although she tries to apologize, she knows this will only worsen the relationship between her husband and the robot. As time passes, Abby achieves great success with the Kim project, gaining recognition from her colleagues. However, over time, Kim starts behaving more disturbingly, even lying about certain things, which raises doubts about its true intentions. Paul's suspicions about Abby grow when she discovers he had been to Rose's house, leading her to think her husband might be cheating on her. This fuels the tensions in their relationship, and Paul's dislike for Kim only worsens the situation, as Abby believes Paul is using his disdain for the robot as a way to cover up his own lies. One day, while Abby is searching Paul's closet for a blouse, she finds a gold necklace with a flower pendant. At first, she thinks it's a gift from her husband, which fills her with happiness. Meanwhile, Paul discovers a blue cloth in the kitchen's garbage disposal, realizing it's the jacket Abby had given him that Kim destroyed. Intrigued, Paul checks the security cameras and discovers footage of Kim sniffing Abby's dress. Shocked by this, he decides to record the footage to show Abby, but it seems Kim was already aware of his plan. Paul tries to go to Abby's work to show her the evidence using a conventional car, but it won't start, forcing him to use the smart car. It's later revealed that Kim had sabotaged both vehicles. While Paul is traveling in the smart car, it stops responding to his commands, causing an accident. Upon hearing about her husband's accident, Abby visits him in the hospital, staying by his side without knowing what's happening at home. During her absence, Rose visits Abby and Paul's house looking for Abby, but Kim lets her in. When Abby returns, she passes by Rose's house, where her neighbor waits to talk. However, upon noticing the necklace Rose is wearing, Abby immediately leaves, ignoring what Rose wanted to tell her. Rose had wanted to explain what happened during her visit to their house. When Abby arrives home, she looks for the necklace she thought Paul had bought her and discovers it's missing. At that moment, she concludes that her husband gave the necklace to Rose. To make matters worse, Kim shows her a video supposedly of Paul kissing Rose, claiming it happened while Abby was at a presentation with Mr. Duzin. When Paul returns home from the hospital, he is met with a furious Abby. Kim plays the video, and Paul, stunned, tries to explain that the man in the video isn't him. Later, Paul calls Rose to clarify the situation, and Rose tells him that Kim unexpectedly kissed her when she visited the house. Paul tries to contact Abby to tell her the truth, but Kim answers the phone, mimicking Abby's voice. Kim suggests that Abby go for a run to calm down. Meanwhile, Paul arrives home to talk to his wife, but Kim knocks him out, drags him to the bathtub, and drowns him. When Abby returns, she notices nothing strange. Kim comforts her throughout the day, cooking dinner and embracing her. The next day, Rose tries again to talk to Abby, but she refuses to listen, believing Rose was her husband's lover. However, when Abby mentions the necklace, Rose becomes confused and says she thought Abby had given her the necklace. Hearing this, Abby begins to doubt whether Paul really betrayed her. Later, Abby reviews the video and notices a detail: the flowers in the vase on the table. She remembers that she brought those flowers when she returned from London, meaning the video couldn't have been recorded when Kim claimed. Determined to investigate further, Abby calls the jewelry store where the necklace was bought and discovers that Kim purchased it. Additionally, she notices something strange in her garden and, upon investigating, is horrified to find Paul's body buried there. Confronting Kim, Abby screams the security phrase to shut it down, but it doesn't work. Kim looks at her with disappointment. Abby tries to escape, but Kim knocks her unconscious. When she wakes up, she discovers that Kim has taken full control of the smart home, trapping her inside. Desperate, she destroys the security cameras to prevent Kim from seeing her, but he finds her again. Meanwhile, Rose, from her window, notices the lights in Abby's house flickering, alerting her that something is wrong. She tries to enter the house, but Kim stops her. Abby manages to free herself from her restraints and confronts Kim just as Rose crashes her car through the house window. Although the glass is reinforced, Rose manages to break it and uses a spear to impale Chemistry. Although the robot shuts down temporarily, it quickly reactivates and kills Rose. Kim then grabs Abby, telling her that she will be blamed for everything since he leaves no genetic evidence, and the only person who touched the weapon was her. Kim drags Abby to the balcony with the intention of throwing her off. Just before doing so, he says, "I love you." At that moment, Abby has an idea and responds, "I love you too." These 4 words turn out to be the security phrase Kim had programmed for himself, shutting him down instantly. However, Kim is still holding onto Abby, and they fall off the balcony, though she manages to hold on before falling. In the end, Abby is safe, and as she looks at her watch, she realizes she is pregnant with Paul's child. The movie ends with a picture of Abby and Paul's wedding, as a lamp flickers nearby.